Mr. Dorsey, does Twitter have the ability to influence elections?
No.
You don't believe Twitter has any ability to influence elections?
No, we are one part of a broad spectrum of communication channels that people have.
So you're testifying to this committee right now that Twitter, when it silences people, when it censors people, when it blocks political speech, that has no impact on elections?
People have choice of other communication channels with which.
Not if they don't hear information. If you don't think you have the power to influence elections, why do you block anything?
Well, we have policies that are focused on making sure that more voices on the platform are possible. We see a lot of abuse and harassment, which ends up silencing people and having them leave from the platform.
All right, Mr. Dorsey, I find your opening questions, your opening answers absurd on their face. But let's talk about the last 2 weeks in particular. As you know, I have long been concerned about Twitter's pattern of censoring and silencing individual Americans with whom Twitter disagrees. But 2 weeks ago, Twitter, and to a lesser extent Facebook, crossed a threshold that is fundamental in our country. 2 weeks ago, Twitter made the unilateral decision to censor the New York Post in a series of 2 blockbuster articles, both alleging evidence of corruption against Joe Biden, the first concerning Ukraine, the second concerning communist China. And Twitter made the decision, number one, to prevent users, any user, from sharing those stories. And number two, you went even further and blocked the New York Post from sharing on Twitter its own reporting. Why did Twitter make the decision to censor the New York Post?
We had a hack materials policy that we.
When was that policy adopted?
In 2018, I believe.
In 2018, go ahead. What was the policy?
So the policy is around limiting the spread of materials that are hacked. We didn't want Twitter to be a distributor for hacked materials. We found that the New York Post, because it showed the direct materials, screenshots of the direct materials, and it was unclear how those were attained, that it fell under this policy. Now,
so in your view, if it's unclear the source of a document, and in this instance, the New York Post documented what it said the source was, which it said it was a laptop owned by Hunter Biden that had been turned into a repair store. So they weren't hiding what they claimed to be the source. Is it your position that Twitter, when you can't tell the source, blocks press stories?
No, not at all. Our team made a fast decision. The enforcement action, however, of blocking URLs, both in tweets and in DM, in direct messages, we believe was incorrect. And we changed it.
Today, right now, the New York Post is still blocked from tweeting 2 weeks later.
Yes, they have to log into their account, which they can do at this minute, delete the original tweet, which fell under our original enforcement actions, and they can tweet the exact same material in the exact same article, and it would go through.
So, Mr. Dorsey, your ability is you have the power to force a media outlet. Let's be clear. The New York Post isn't just some random guy tweeting. The New York Post has the 4th highest circulation of any newspaper in America. The New York Post is over 200 years old. The New York Post was founded by Alexander Hamilton. And your position is that you can sit in Silicon Valley and demand of the media that you can tell them what stories they can publish, and you can tell the American people what reporting they can hear. Is that right?
No, this was every person, every account, every organization that signs up to Twitter agrees to a terms of service. Terms of service is
so media outlets must genuflect and obey your dictates if they wish to be able to communicate with readers. Is that right?
No, not at all. We recognized an error in this policy, and specifically the enforcement.
You're still blocking their posts. You're still blocking their posts. Right now, today, you're blocking their posts.
We're not blocking the post. Anyone can tweet.
Can the New York Post post on their Twitter account?
If they go into their account.
No is your answer to that. No, unless they genuflect and agree with your dictates. Let me ask you something. You claimed it was because of a hacked materials policy. I find that facially highly dubious and clearly employed in a deeply partial way.
The greatest rabbit hole.
Like, what's something that you've learned since being in government that you kind of wish, I suppose, when you were...
Didn't know? Yeah. Oh, well, one, that it's all fake. Mm-hmm. You know, that was really a very sad moment for me when I served on the House International Relations Committee. Mm-hmm. And the particular subcommittee, I think it was Western Hemisphere subcommittee, was having a hearing. Mm-hmm. And the chairman of the subcommittee was there. I was on the subcommittee, so I was there. Mm-hmm. And then the committee or the subcommittee were interviewing, had a panel of witnesses that were being questioned by the subcommittee members. And it looked like it was a normal event. Then, all of a sudden, the chairman of the subcommittee, we sit down, we go through the hearing. The chairman of the subcommittee is fussing at the witness. And the witness is antagonistic toward the chairman of the subcommittee. So there's some friction, there's electricity, there's something happening in the air. After the hearing is over, the chairman backslaps the witness and they walk out together. It was just theater. It didn't mean anything. So that was like the saddest thing for me to realize that it was all just theater, didn't really mean anything. And that's probably the harshest lesson, but that's the realest lesson.
Mm-hmm. Welcome to the Cryptoteacher. And guys, I come with that video to make you think early. Now, basically, of course, we had Ted Cruz and Jack Dorsey. Looks like they're going at it. The actor and actresses on the stage. And of course, guys, we are the audience. Now, we know, guys, that big tech is being funded by the government. How do you think they got this big? We know the Fed runs them. The New World Order runs Facebook, Twitter, Snap. That's who has control over it. Where do you think all this money is coming from? Who do you think funded it all? So, guys, we have Cynthia McKinney that was in Congress advising you. It's all a show. That's the reason why, guys, we have to keep spreading these videos. The more people wake up, the better. But y'all have a wonderful day.